Hi everyone, my name is Sofia and I'm here to tell you a little bit about my journey to my current job as an analytical scientist at Rumenaut. So I came to Dunedin in 2022 to study here at the University of Otago. Like many others, I joined the health science first year program. After semester one, I knew that medicine was not what I wanted to do. So I changed my degree to a BSc, majoring in microbiology. I continued on with that until 2024 when I graduated. And it was around this time of my last year of uni, probably right after leaving this talk, that I really started to think of what would come next. So I knew that, well, at the time, I thought I wanted to do an honors year. So I started to have lots of chats with my professors to see what they were offering at their labs, and quickly found out there was only one whose projects were really what I wanted to do. Unfortunately, there was only capacity to take one student, and somebody did make the prior arrangements. So I still kept in touch with all my other teachers just to see what their projects were and all that. At the same time, I knew that I wanted to do a summer internship. So with that came a lot of thinking about writing a CV and writing cover letters, preparing for interviews, which was very scary. This was not an easy process at all. I sent so many applications all over the country, even Australia, but I was very determined that I wanted to do an internship. My preference was still to be here in Dunedin, so even though I got faced with a lot of rejection emails, I was very happy to hear about Rumenaut. So I saw their internship posted in this website called Job Done. It's a website where local Dunedin businesses can advertise their internships. So if that's something that any of you guys are looking for, I would definitely recommend checking them out to see if they have some cool opportunities for you. So my internship at Rumenaut lasted 10 weeks. Here I got to do lots of literature reviews as well as some lab work that was quite different to what I was used to at the uni. So it was a nice change of scenery. And it was also around halfway through my internship that I realized I do not want to go back to study, and I very much enjoyed working. So I cancelled my honors application, and I kind of just took a leap of faith, hoping that they would hire me full time, and they did. So to tell you a little bit about Rumenaut, we are an agricultural technology startup company that focuses on reducing methane emissions from the agricultural sector. So this is emissions coming from cows and sheep, as these animals have a special stomach, which we call the rumen. And here, there are millions of microbes that are constantly fermenting the food that the animal eats. As a result of that, they produce a lot of gas. They also produce these molecules called volatile fatty acids, which is sort of like vinegars that the animal can then absorb and use as an energy source. So at Rumenaut, we are making a device that can go inside the rumen and it will remove the hydrogen before it can be made into methane. Now, in order to make such a device, we needed a way to test it. And for a startup company, going straight to animal trials is not an option. This is costly. It's also, you have a lot of ethical considerations to take into account. So this is how the robotic rumen came to life. The robotic rumen is an in vitro system for testing devices, but we can also test different feeds, formulations, and inhibitors. Out of the robotic rumen, we get lots of data on the gases produced as well as the volatile fatty acids. So here I've got a video for you of the robotic rumen. This is sped up. It goes a lot slower in real life. But here you can see a rack of 10 robotic rumens. And the reason they move like this is to keep the contents mixing as they would inside the animal. So after my internship was completed, I got hired initially with a laboratory operations role. So this is kind of like a lab tech role. But the thing about a startup is that it's not like going to a well-established business. Everybody there had to take on so many different roles, and what you do every day was constantly changing, which I personally loved because I got to do so many cool stuff that I never thought I would do, like soldering, robotics construction, electronics. I was also involved in some really cool research and development projects, as well as learning lots of lab skills and techniques. Now, one of the lab techniques that caught my eye the most was gas chromatography, or GC for short. This is an analytical technique that we use to separate components in a mixture, which then gives you the ability to be able to quantify them. So at Rumenaut, we have 3 GCs. 2 of them are for measuring the volatile fatty acids and 1 for the gases. So I started working and got so heavily involved with the GC and learned so much about it that eventually I became the main person responsible for this aspect of the business. And my title at work evolved to analytical scientist, which is pretty neat. So to give you a bit of an overview of a typical workday, there is no such thing as that there, but some of the general tasks that I may do can be preparing and analyzing the samples, planning and conducting experiments. I get to do quite a bit of method development and optimization. With all the data that comes out of the GCs, I have to analyze it to make sure that everything is still running smoothly. And then if anything goes wrong, it can be detected early on. I get to write reports, and my favorite part, I am quite a creative person, and working in a business like this requires a lot of creative problem solving. So I really thrive in that kind of environment. In terms of tips and advice that I would like to give to you today, number 1 is to be proactive, as opportunities will come if you seek them. So definitely make your name known, get yourself out there, which gets me straight into point 2. It is so important in science to build those connections and network, as it is more often than not about who you know rather than what you know. And number 3, and the most personal one for me, a postgrad degree is not essential for succeeding and getting a good job. Thank you very much for listening. Here are my contact details.